Hello and welcome. My guest today is John White. John White is a PEMF researcher and inventor from New Zealand, now living in Nanjing, China, with a background in electrical engineering, physics, and computer sciences. He's been researching and developing solutions to serious diseases since 2008. John specializes in PEMF therapy, Rife frequency, and scalar resonance healing, photon, and biofeedback. With an insatiable desire for truth and knowledge, John has collaborated with global research groups to discover answers to health issues. John, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Thanks for inviting me. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well.
Absolutely. I guess we could just go ahead and start off by just asking, what is PEMF therapy?
Isn't it a shame it's been given such a scientific name? I mean, 4 letters, and people generally balk as soon as they hear the letter agencies, and PEMF is similar to that. It stands for pulsed electromagnetic fields. Basically, magnetic fields are very briefly applied. They induce electric current within each cell of your body, and that electric current does magical things. That's it in a nutshell.
Wow.
Yeah, it's basically placing a coil next to your body, and that coil then has signals pass through it. Your electric toothbrush. I was just thinking that this morning. I hadn't thought of it before then, but you put your electric toothbrush in its holder, and without any connection of wires to the toothbrush, it charges. Pulse EMF is kind of similar. It charges up the cells in your body. And as soon as the cells in your body has enough energy, then they can self-heal.
So it did say that you specialize in the Rife frequency. Now, I've heard about that, and I ended up picking up a little machine that they say is very similar to that, but it's like but it's like a little teeny weeny little thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's lots of them. We make a portable unit ourselves. I'll let your viewers know, maybe they're not familiar with Rife machines and what is the word Rife. About 100 years ago, a man called Royal Rife. He was like a Tesla of his time. He was a real smart cookie, and he discovered that certain frequencies can kill certain germs. Each germ has got a different frequency. It's the resonant frequency. And he went on to invent many different devices, like the world's most powerful microscope. This is 1920s, which has still yet to be matched in performance. And machines to apply the frequencies to these pathogens in your body. It's really amazing how back in 1920 something, no, 1930, very start of 1930, he did a trial and proved that he could cure cancer. Now, this is a long time ago, and you're going to ask, or everyone's going to ask themselves, what happened between then and now? They're still doing the yellow ribbon days or pink ribbon days, and still trying to find a cure for cancer. But this person, almost 100 years ago, discovered that there was a way of curing. Now, that's not a very, you've got to be careful using that word.
Yeah.
But it was a proper medical trial. And it was just astounding what he achieved. And then the big boys stepped in, and then we are where we are today. Now, what turned me to him was hardships in my own family, health emergencies, and people, members of my family dying as a result. It was either directly through the disease or the medication they were taking that dragged them under. And the type of person I am is, if I can possibly find an answer, I will find it. I'm very, very stubborn in some ways. I'm reminded quite often. But I think I like to think it's stubborn in a good way, because my focus is on the health of people. I let the small details look after themselves. and I try and address the big details. So Royal Rife found an answer. The answer was forgotten. Now we're finding the answer again now. And part of its answer is pulsed EMF. Now, Royal Rife didn't do pulsed EMF, but us as a company, we do have Rife style products, which are modeled on the very early machines of Royal Rife and the way that he applied it. So that's a bit of a history lesson. It's absolutely amazing, you know, how you can buy something, you know, and then treat yourself, become empowered because you're not having to see a doctor, although we never recommend you don't see a doctor or trained, registered medical professional. But people can actually look after themselves. When you wake up in the morning, it's not someone else that washes your face. Well, hopefully it's yourself that washes your face, you know. It's you do it. And you comb your hair or not, as the case may be. And it's you that's looking after yourself. Now, that shouldn't stop when you, when you walk out the door. You should look after yourself the whole day. There's so many things that people as a whole seem to have forgotten. There are natural home remedies that you can do for resolving health issues, and of course they're poo-pooed on these websites. But if you really are concerned for your health and well-being, physical, spiritual, or whatever, learn and do. We were discussing earlier before we started the interview how you can manifest things with just visualizing and putting yourself in a particular place. Now, even though I wasn't familiar with it explained in that way, it's, I think in hindsight, what I was doing. I've manifested the day when people, when they feel sick, through whatever reason, they open up their cupboard door, take something out, and resolve the problem themselves without having to pay the $80 to some medical professional, and then having to go back in the bag, and then being locked in to the cycle of drug medication for symptomatic relief. If they can resolve issues themselves, that's the ideal. And that is the ideal that I manifested in my mind. This ideal world where people, again, shared knowledge. Someone might say, well, I've got this problem, what do I do? And then collectively, people say, hey, this is what I did. My condition was the same as you, and I tried this and it worked. There are pockets on the internet of sites where people do share information, but they're few and far between. And a lot of it is filled up with a bit of nonsense, I think purposefully. And that's a shame. But my personal mindset is that if something doesn't work, I don't make it. Or if there's some projects which I've created which haven't been as good as I thought, and so they don't make it to the market. They might be a fantastic money spinner, sure, but that will go against the principles of the company that I formed, where truly the focus is on people. And so with my manifestation back in 2008, actually, to be fair, Rich, my manifestation occurred, I manifested myself in where I wanted the world to be much earlier than that. But it really took the triggers of the family disasters, health disasters, to really put my focus into making it happen. I think that to achieve anything really significant, you have to manifest, not just it makes it easy or possible. It's absolutely essential that you manifest yourself. I don't think it's actually possible to become successful in any field unless you manifested yourself. You put yourself in that place. I think that the difference between a person who succeeds and a person who doesn't is the person who succeeds, he's got long distant vision. He can see far away. He can see really where he wants to go. And with people now, I do think they're kind of controlled, but not in a conspiracy way. When
Yeah.
you've got phone games, and so they're happy with their lot. They go to work, and they might sneak off in the toilet to play a few games, and they're happy because they think they're getting away with something. But if your life meaning is waking up, scrubbing the chops, going to work, back again, and you know, little things like this, that's not really meaningful. I think that there's a lot more to life if you start really venturing out there. And what I am talking about is spiritual things. Now, even the word spiritual has been given it's almost got a negative connotation. People say it with a bit of embarrassment. I'm very spiritual. You say that in a party, and then you find that the people around you tend to get a little bit thinner. But that is us. That is our essence. That is what it doesn't matter. It's not saying that you're not a Presbyterian or Catholic or Protestant or Muslim or whatever. It's got nothing to do with a religion. Spirituality has nothing to do with that. It's really to do with understanding yourself. You are spiritual. You can't. You're not a machine. You've got to recognize that you have your whole, everything in your day has been dumbed down to keep you happy and keep you compliant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether you touched on this on your channel, but if you keep have a population which has got, you know, they have their enjoyments and they go home, watch TV, and there's TV programs. It's like watching these comedies where they have a soundtrack of laughing. It's the instruction for you to laugh. It's your trigger. And collectively, we feel comfortable. But as soon as you start going out on your own and you realize that laugh track is actually recorded, because each laugh is exactly the same as the other ones, right? As soon as you know that it is a machine that's prompting an emotion within your body, then you start realizing, well, hang on, that's not quite right. It's not quite right. And then you start realizing, well, what brings true happiness in your life? It's interaction, it's other people. But if other people are in semi-zombie states on their phones or just zoned out, you're actually depriving yourself, and they're depriving themselves of true bliss. I've been on a personal journey. I am a New Zealander, which people tell me I do have an accent. I've denied it to this day. But yeah, I come from a very small country, which everyone knows each other and knows a few sheep as well, to a very large country, which is very impersonal. There's more people. There's 4 times more people in my city here now in China than are in the entire of the country where I came from. And it was kind of mind-boggling at the moment. And I still struggle with the fact that the person I see today, I might never ever see them again. And when you don't see someone again, you don't feel a need to interact. And well, this is the natural human tendency. And so I noticed that people walk past each other and they don't say hi. And for a long, long time, in fact, actually, I got a confession. I still do. I still say hi to people I know I'll never meet again. I just wave my hand, hi, you know. It's very impersonal, and that's the way that the world is becoming. I guess as people will, you know, gather in larger crowds in the cities for their jobs and that, it's just a natural tendency. But I think that people are losing out on it. And I think that if people realize that there's much more. Now, what is happiness? If you can define happiness for yourself and then make that larger. If happiness is working on your phone,
Yeah.
well, I haven't really got much advice for you that's positive. But I do advise that you know, true happiness is meeting people, getting your horizons expanded. You know, it's not the 4 walls that we're sitting in now. There's a big world out there, and there's a lot of really, really cool people out there. people that will challenge what you know. And yeah, I'm hoping that our discussion today will challenge some people's viewpoints on, I don't know what Wikipedia calls Rife crackery. It doesn't work. It's never been proven. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that's the world that we live in. So let's hope that the people on your channel have got an open mind, listen to us, and think, well, maybe there's a tiny ounce of truth in that, and maybe I want to look a little bit further. In the very early days, I kind of was a skeptic. My formal training quelled some of my skepticism because part of it is we had to deal with electrical resonance. Resonance is like pushing someone on a swing. We push at the right rate and the person swings higher and higher. And that's basically resonance in a nutshell. And the effect of resonance is that with a very small, with a very weak signal, you can make very powerful things happen. Without resonance, we wouldn't be talking here today. We couldn't listen to radios or watch air broadcast TV. Resonance is everywhere. But I don't know why people don't become more aware of that. The magic about resonance is you can also cause the cells in your body to resonate, and in particular, the cells you don't want in your body. And this is what Royal Rife was doing. He was resonating the cells in your body which belonged to the viruses, bacteria, molds, parasites, all the nasties in your body. And so he made the discovery. The discovery was sort of buried, and we're sort of bringing it back to the forefront again. So I'm not sure what question I answered, but I answered a few in that.
Oh, yeah.
I gave you a bit of a break.
Yeah. Well, I do have one though, because this is actually something that I have been. I can't really say I've been researching it very extensively, but like I said, I did pick me up a little frequency machine. I forget the name of it, but they said that it was just basically a small Rife machine. But one of the things that I was wondering is, going back to talking about manifestation, see, obviously, and you kind of touched on this, like our emotions can manifest certain illnesses, and these frequencies can help, I guess, the cells in your body. But do we have to kind of meet in the middle somewhere? And as we are using some sort of energy frequency therapy, are we also having to do some inner work too, to make sure that we're not just pumping the same negative emotions, all day, every day?
That's a brilliant question. I'm pleased you asked that. I've seen multiple people use the same protocols, which work, and some of them have failed miserably. And in the early days, I really couldn't understand why. Then I came to realize that the people who did not succeed, they had negative attitudes, but they basically owned the disease. They didn't. With meditation, you can make physical changes. No, I didn't put that there. You can do physical changes just using your mind. And so it is very, very important. They talk about vitamins and minerals, vitamins A, B, C, D, E, K. Well, what about vitamin F? That's fun. You need fun. No, you laugh, and that's good. It's fantastic. You've just had some healing, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely essential to have fun in your life. Absolutely essential. And so, yes. And with, on a physical side, as well as using machines, you've got to feed your body with the nutrients it needs. Supplements it needs if your body's lacking in some essential nutrients, but definitely vitamin F for sure. Very, very important. That the moment that you own the disease is the time that you succumb. That's when you might as well just pack it in. the fighters, the people that just want to stay with their family for longer periods of time. They really, what they do is they manifest the disease to be gone, if you like.
Mm.
Living in China, I've got circles of friends who are Buddhist masters who have really made me realize how important it is to do what you have asked. It's absolutely essential, not a nice thing to do. It's absolutely essential that you visualize the disease gone. You can actually close your eyes and go inside, and you can visualize the disease or the nasties. You can do it. You can visualize it however way you like. But if you can visualize it, then you can visualize it gone. And that's what manifestation is. It's wanting something very badly, I guess, and then making it happen through the power of the mind. I'm talking in very simplistic terms now. In Buddhism, we're taught that basically nothing is real. Don't rely on your senses. But again, in the 21st century, it's hard to do because you go in an elevator, you've got these screens blaring at you to buy this and try that, and we're just bombarded with misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Not misinformation like political or anything like that. It's just garbage.
Just everything.
Garbage. It is, and it really does cloud the mind. It's hard to focus. Would you be able to go to sleep if you had advertisements going next to you on the bed? It's just not possible. You can't zone out and be yourself, have your own private thoughts. But you've got to find a quiet spot where you can visualize the disease and manifest them gone. I've known people that have done that alone. In China, it's not much different from other countries where some practices aren't encouraged, so to speak. And one of them is where a group of monks will chant to someone who has a condition, and the condition will be gone like this. Each one of those monks is doing manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like laser focused on one person's part of their body. This person was in an MRI machine, and a tumor that was in their kidney could be seen to shrink and then disappear. So this is scientific proof that manifestation works.
Yeah.
Now, the unfortunate thing is, now I met one of these monks. He was actually the team leader who did it, and he was really excited and proud and everything. But he said to me that he didn't know whether he could do that now because the restrictions that are in place. Basically, they say they're living in a cave. It wouldn't be like a wet, damp cave. It'll be quite a grandiose, a proper, nice cave, but still away from civilization, away from the garbage, the trash, everything that's in the airwaves and all around us. And they're very pure, and their manifestation is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it reminds me a while before I ever even knew what manifestation was. I'll never forget. For some strange reason, one day I started thinking about kidney stones.
Yes.
I'd never had one. And I just remember, I don't know why I started thinking about this, but I just sat down for about an hour and thought about what it would be like to have a kidney stone. And
I know where this is going.
less than 1 week later, it wasn't even a full week, I had a kidney stone. Yeah. And I remember thinking, that's weird.
Yes.
Did I make that happen? And now obviously I know that I did, but at the time I think I tried to explain it away as a coincidence. But
yes,
yeah.
Now you can't, because it's too big of a coincidence, even for that one-off thing. And I've experienced this too. You do have to be careful about the things that you wish, because you know, quite often they'll come true. And what you'll find, Rich, what you do know is that the more you do it, the more powerful it becomes. You become more attuned with something somewhere which makes things happen. And so if you practice with this manifestation, what will happen is that you'll get better and better. So if you can do that with okay, you created a kidney stone or two in your body.
Yeah.
Now, okay, if you get unwell, you can do exactly the same thing, but in a positive way. Yeah. So it's I guess it's similar like in Africa where they do the pointing of the bone. Oh no, that's in Australia. They point the bone, which is the curse, and the person dies. That the person pointing the bone is manifesting a negative thing. I guess you've got to be strong in yourself to oppose that. So I can see great advantage in training yourself in the power of manifestation and putting it into positive good use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go ahead and talk a little bit about, I guess, the company and maybe the role that you have within the company?
Sure. Well, the company was started in a garage with in my home in Auckland. The reason I moved to China is the people in New Zealand, the authorities, they like to say them, they weren't particularly happy with what I was doing, and I found myself under investigation, and I didn't feel I was safe, so I went to the land of the free. Who would associate China with the land of the free? But actually, the way it worked was, at that time, I was sourcing a lot of the componentry from China. I was doing it because in America, it was very narrow, the kind of components that they had there. And so it was sort of like an obvious thing to do. Well, if I'm being pushed out one place, let's go to another country, which I had become quite familiar with. And since coming here, I've sort of thrown the anchor out and focused on what I do best, which isn't running away from investigators and hearing knocks on the doors and being worried about things. I focus purely on health solutions. So my role in the company is designing the machines, writing the software that drives the machines, updating the databases, and things like this. It's a very fulfilling role, because with things that I do, I realize that it's going to help through extrapolation an awful lot of people. I'll give you an example. We have what's known as a DNA database. These are frequencies which have been scientifically calculated to kill germs in your body. These are the exact precise frequencies. But before we came bowling along, the only frequencies you could use are ones that cost $15 for each pathogen. And that doesn't align with my business model, which means if you do it for free, and if you can't do it for free, make it as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
So I looked at the methods that they used, the commercial people use for creating these DNA frequencies, and I saw flaw after flaw. So I fixed their problems, went from the bottom up to create a procedure, a methodology to derive these frequencies. I published it so it can't be patented like the other ones. No one could own this method of developing the frequencies. And I don't care who uses them. I don't care if it's a competing company or anything. It's great. The focus is on the people. And so it's out there in the wild. And no one's ever managed to prove to me that these frequencies don't work and the method is wrong. So it's kind of cool. So I do the software and the hardware and the frequencies, and and other things like that. In China, I've got I don't actually work in China for an income. I'm supported now by my wife, who runs the company. So the things I do, I don't really have I don't have a need for money, so to speak. If I want to buy, a bottle of milk, I ask for some money and then I buy a bottle of milk. It's simple. So my focus is on machines and other things, not on profit. And that's the way that the company is too. With every sale, we talked about manifestation, how you have goodness in your heart and then you portray it out. Us as a company, I didn't want to have a company which was different from me. So the company supports many charities, and it's not like 0.001% just so that we can put our name in saying that we do support. It's real support. It's 5% or whatever, of charities for orphans, children that were abandoned because they had some physical difference from what people term as normal, or they're born out of wedlock and it's through shame. It's not the child's fault. And so we support children, we support old people, we support hospitals, we support the environment. All the things which I personally think are most important, we do support. And we also try and educate people to become to also pass love forwards and realize, well, yeah, it's all great to gather wealth during your life, but when you die, when you cark it at the end of the day, what do you got? What do you got? Now we were talking again earlier, and you were saying that a few years ago, you were probably at the bottom part of your life. You really felt down and out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a gift.
Yep.
I think you see that as a gift now. That was a gift.
Oh, yes.
Now you, and what you're doing now, and teaching people the power of manifestation, how wonderful it can be, and anyone can do it. That is how you're returning. You're actually adding to your blessings by doing that. And because you have so many people watching your channel, the blessings are magnified. And it's great to be able to do this. Well, this is what we do too. We have websites which teach people about Royal Rife, teach people how frequencies can heal, teach people about how they can do it. It doesn't have to be through our machines. We don't worry about that. Life will come and go either way, but we are doing things the right way. We are purely focusing on people and teaching people that to take control over your own health is the best way to become empowered. You don't teach people, go and see this person because they're an expert on manifestation and they will do it for you. You teach people, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
That's empowerment. And then when you feel empowered, you realize that there's no one that can take that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
If you can manifest, if you can do it, there's no one single person in this world that can stop you from doing it.
Yeah. One of the things that I've learned on my journey is that there are some people out there who don't want to be empowered. And that shocked me. Have you ever stumbled across people like that?
I've stumbled upon lots of people that don't want me to be empowered. Not many people that don't want to be empowered, a few, but generally I find that I like to surround myself with people that are good people that I reach out to for helping. Sometimes, that's a struggle, and it's hard for me to put myself into their mindset and understand why they're like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just tired and negative, but I've seen people turn around as well. Not as many as I'd like, but I've seen people turn around.
Yeah.
But to reach out to them, to actually, some people are their own world. They think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Yeah, one of the things that I make it a strong point to teach people, because this is one of the things that I learned on my journey, is using the power of your own thoughts to rewrite the chemistry in your own brain, and I thought that would be, because when I learned that was possible,
Yeah.
I was delighted. I was like,
Yeah.
you mean I can do that? So
Yeah,
that's when
absolutely.
you started forcing new thoughts for months and months and months and months until you're thinking these new thoughts on autopilot.
That's
You know?
right. That's right. And people go and see a psychologist, which is the trained medical professional. But you can become empowered, do it yourself and do it better, because who else knows you better than you? You can say things to the psychologist, but do you really delve down to your real deep self? I don't think so. And you can be lying in bed in your half awake, half asleep state, and you can make big changes then, because you haven't got the background noise then, and you can really focus with amazing clarity on things that you want to change, and make the change through through this manifestation. Absolutely. If people had a positive attitude, they would only have perhaps half of their health issues that they have, and they'd be a much happier person. Less than half, I'd say, less than half their health issues.
Yeah.
And because they've got a positive attitude, so they'd learn more about manifestation, and then they'd have zero health problems
Yeah.
because they'd know how to push it out. They'd know how to take the most from life, pick the ripest fruit, make, and surround themselves with happiness.
Hmm.
Yeah, life would be so much more enjoyable. I don't think I could live a life where, I mean, now I couldn't. Waking up in the morning, cornflakes, go to work, come back home, watch TV, go to bed. And then again. That's a Groundhog Day. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. Like, what have you achieved after a year? Well, okay, watch this TV series and Game of Thrones, whatever. I don't watch TV, but whatever's,
Yeah.
and then you are watching somebody else's creation. When you're watching any sort of entertainment, someone else has created that. And then when you follow the plot of the program, your mind then becomes lockstep with that. And you start worrying about some of the characters of the TV. Maybe one of the characters has been killed or whatever, and you're upset. These are stirring up emotions,
Hmm.
but not from something real.
Right.
But you can do that with something real through manifestation,
Hmm.
because it comes from yourself.
I tell people that all the time. That's one thing that I try to shout from the rooftops, is that if you could understand how addicted you can get to negative emotions
Yeah,
and how that manifests illness and stuff, you would never listen to another sad song or watch another movie that scares you. But people get addicted to this stuff, you know?
it's crazy. And the people that are in that state will often reach out for help, and they reach out to the wrong people. The people that haven't got the sensitivity or the knowledge that is out there. And quite often the real smart cookies that they ask will tell them the answer is within. You've just got to open it up. And so with your manifestation, I mean, that's amazing. It's that's really aligned with my thoughts and what I've seen and what I've experienced. Until today, I haven't really used or thought of the term manifestation, but it is what it is. It's just a word putting a label on what to me is natural. If let's say, for example, and it's a real world example too, I want to make a device which has not been made before, which brings out the natural inherent desire to heal within our body. And it's through the use of PEMF, but not as we know it. Okay, that's what I want. So maybe 2 years ago, that I manifested my desire to where I am now, where we're in the final testing stages of this machine. Could I have done this without putting myself in the future, just visualizing and then making it happen? I don't know. I don't think so. If it is possible, I don't think the machine will be as good. A machine is like a machine can be an extension of yourself if you pour yourself into it. Or can we just be an appliance like a toaster? A toaster's got no soul, or a hairdryer. But if you really pour every effort into making something, turning something into reality. It becomes more than a machine. Now I'm looking for something, anything that we make. Quite often you have it kicking around. I've got a couple of pulsed EMF devices that I've created already. Both of them, I look at them and I know the hours of hard work I put into each one, but I also think about the emotions I put into it. It's like if something doesn't work as I expect it, I feel like my friend has, needs more help, and so I put more effort in. I don't think of it as purely as machines. You plug something in and then it works, like I guess most people would. It's personal. And so my pulse EMF devices I've created, which is one's a portable unit. It's the Mini Magic. That's a beautiful device. You just clip it onto your belt, and it's got little coils you can put against your body. I've made a larger match unit, which is the Magic, which you sleep on. Both of those I've got a very personal attachment to, because I know that I've put my very, very best into them, and my manifestation in the early days made that happen. I think that if I was just a corporation, a company, cold face, just into profits and everything else, those machines wouldn't be anywhere near as good as what they are. And the machine that we're working on now, the pulsed EMF machine, another Miramate product, that's so beautiful that it's not a machine. It's like part of the family. It's really beautiful. But I can't tell you about it because it hasn't been finalized yet.
Oh,
but manifestation is important for everything you do in your life. It can be through passing exams, or it could be for anything. For me, I use manifestation for healing people, and whatever it takes, I'll do it.
what are some of the conditions that these PEMF machines can help with?
Well, there's two broad categories of conditions. There's the acute conditions. These are the ones that you suddenly realize that you've got. They suddenly appear. It can be through accident. It's usually through accident. With pulsed EMF devices, they're really wonderful for conditions with the joints and the bones. That's the main area where they're amazing for. People, when they get older, they're trained to think that it's natural for their bones to ache, their back to be sore, their knees to hurt. That's part of life. You're taught and trained this and trained into your nut. But it's not. There's no reason to suffer any sort of pain in your day-to-day activities. If you do, you can manifest and get them gone. If you want to have a device that does it, that also helps, you can use a pulsed EMF device unit. The idea is you place the coil next to where it hurts, like your joint or some other muscle, soft tissue, tendons, and recovered with muscles, or most of us are, small ones, big ones, and they can get torn, overextended. And pulsed EMF is a way of decreasing the recovery time, making the recovery time much faster. It's very fortunate. Most of the they say alternative health methods, but other methods have been ridiculed by the system that we have now.
Of
But
course.
they haven't really done that with pulsed EMF, because the history of pulsed EMF goes way back, and then it's got such a it's quite a it's been proven in so many studies, right, that that it truly does work. That they can't say it doesn't work. So okay, they can only say it's a therapy. Okay, you can't say it heals. Therapy. Okay, So it's very therapeutic for things like torn tendons, even things like arthritis, which you're told is through hereditary. If it is hereditary, it could well be that you've got a natural tendency to have, you're predisposed to having joint issues. But it doesn't mean, sorry about the noise, it doesn't mean you have to tolerate it. And it can mean that you can resolve it. And pulse TMF is a way of resolving it. If you have migraines, actually, we've had a lot of people say that you place a coil next to where you've got the throbbing on your head, quite often it's in your temples there, and the migraines go away, which is really remarkable, because any other alternative is to bed rest and pop those pills. So what else? It's a lot of things. Actually, a big thing that pulse TMF is fantastic for is broken bones. They have proven again, this is a claim which isn't just a, oh, he said, she said. It accelerates markedly the healing of bones. They in these laboratory tests, they break bones of animals. We didn't do it. We don't do tests on animals, but these scientists and researchers, they break the bones of these animals, and they put a distance between the bones, and the distance was such that the bones would not heal. But the animals that had a pulse TMF coil placed over the joint, the bones did mat together and heal. So
Wow.
It's great for broken bones. In fact, a member of our family, they were in the unfortunate position where they broke some bones in their foot, and he was told that he could probably walk again after 3 months, I believe. He had pins put in his bones. Now, he was using pulse TMF to make his feet heal, and the doctors were amazed at how quickly he could just walk in, start walking, walk in, walk out, and just again lead a normal life. He's going to have those pins removed later on, because he doesn't like the thought of having pins in his body all the time. But just the speed of recovery is quite pronounced when you use pulse TMF. Now, when you consider that pulse TMF, it doesn't mean you've got to put anything into your body. Your body's only using the information, the energy from the coils in a natural way. It's hard to think of anything negative. There's never been one death from the use of pulse TMF, including the very, very powerful units. MRI units even use a type of pulse TMF, but not for healing as such. It's a very natural and safe way of healing. It's remarkable if you do a search through the journals of scientific corners, and you search for pulse TMF therapy, you'll be amazed at how many different studies have been taken to prove or try and disprove pulse TMF. And time again, it's been proven to be safe. It's been proven to be effective. In the first Apollo trip to the moon, while they're preparing everything, they realized that, okay, they can give basic medical training to the astronauts, but there's not actually a real doctor up there. What if someone breaks their bones or has other serious injury, pulls a tendon? What can they do? Well, they developed a pulse TMF unit, and it was a little unit. It was nice and light, so that it wasn't much of a burden on the payload that's being sent up, and it made its way there and back again. And so, the authorities know how good pulse TMF is. It's just not being promoted because it's counter to their business models of other areas. So if you can buy something, one-off purchase, and then just keep it for the rest of your life, and pass it on to your children, grandchildren.
Mhm.
That's a real lousy business model, isn't it? As opposed to regular dosing of whatever, or having to go for skeletal corrections, the osteopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings me to the next one here. If someone doesn't know what condition they have, can they still use one of these?
Yeah, of course, of course. The only caution is if you have a pacemaker. Now, pacemakers are very robust. They have to be robust because they don't have telephone communications of a certain number and a certain letter to interrupt the use of a pacemaker. Even very strong electrical signals should not interrupt the proper functioning of a pacemaker. But still, we do recommend people not to use pulsed EMF of any sort from any supplier if you have a pacemaker. But apart from that, really, there's no problems at all. Oh, and also pregnancy, I guess. But apart from that, pulsed EMF is extremely safe. There's no needles, no drugs. There's nothing really to go wrong. In fact, we're being subjected to pulsed EMF as we speak. It's the natural pulsed EMF of the Earth's magnetic field. Now, the pulsing isn't gentle, it's sudden, it spikes, and it's created by lightning storms throughout the world. And the noise, the electrical noise it makes, circulates around the globe, and it's a certain frequency because the distance is a certain distance. So that's basically talking about the Schumann resonance. It's a resonance of this signal. So you and I, we were born into this field, and not only are we able to tolerate this field, we also need this field. People that have been placed in special rooms that have been designed to block this natural rhythm of pulsed EMF from the Earth have suffered great health issues as a result. So not only do we tolerate it, we need it. This is the pulse of the Earth. The units that we make, the pulsed EMF units, have all been modeled on the pulse of Earth.
That's fascinating.
So I mean, it's logical too, it's not just us, but all our ancestors, right from the very first tiny little animal that crawled out from the water. We've been bathed in the same frequency, the same type of field, and it's become necessary. Maybe it helps in our cells in our body from communicating with each other, and that's something which has been tentatively proven already, but they're just trying to disprove it. If it can't be disproven, then it's taken as fact. Where the Schumann resonance, the natural pulse of Mother Earth, is necessary for a healthy life. So if we go to a different planet, if we start inhabiting Mars, for example, we'd have to be carrying pulse TMF units in our pockets to apply to our body the pulse that we need to be healthy.
That's fascinating. How can people wisely choose a good PEMF machine?
Well, I'd say most pulse EMF machines are good. And you did hear that from the person who sells them. That's the kind of person I am. I'm the world's worst salesperson. I guess what you're wanting to know is what the advantages is from buying from us. Well, okay. Well, I'll say most pulse EMF units are quite good, to be fair. The advantages from us is that maybe our understanding is deeper. Why, we're not talking about pulses, we're talking about pulse intensities, pulse patterns, because we don't just need a regular pulse in our body. It's got to be a particular pattern so I can enter through the cell membrane to get right inside your cell. And we have, through research, discovered and applied the optimum patterns. So I guess I could argue, I suppose, that our devices may be better because we do things right. But you know, it's not just on our shoulders. We also ride on the shoulders of giants and people that design, for example, the pulsed EMF unit that went to the moon and back. We looked at the method that they used, and we developed that even further, because I mean that was way back in the 70s. We refined it, made it better, and yeah, I guess another advantage is the morality of our company. Pulsed EMF units tend to be very expensive. Our ones are not. Our detractors have said, well, that's because they're made in China, which they are. I guess that by default means that everything's made in, all Americans are good, or and everything that's made in America is good. But I know I've pulled apart so many, both pulsed EMF units and other units from other manufacturers from other countries in the world, and really, you know, see that they're junk. They will not work correctly. We as a company have got a very strong sense of goodness. We do things for the, you know, we do the very best we can to make a positive change in humanity. You know, we've got a mission, vision, value, and our mission is to provide the best health devices at the lowest possible price. It doesn't mean cutting corners. It means having less profit. So instead of having obscene 500% profit margins, which is what the other pulsed EMF suppliers have, or more even, our margin is much less. And the margins that we make, we throw it either into research or we throw it into charity work. And so if I was an outsider and I was looking at buying a pulsed EMF unit, yes, most pulsed EMF units will work to varying degrees, but most of them will work. So with that in mind, I then look at the company and what is the kind of company that I would want to support. I know that China has it's got a negative feeling in most people that think about sweatshops, people working in dark rooms and with loud machines, overworked and everything. It really is the opposite to that. Now, our staff, I mean, you met two of our staff this morning who helped arrange this meeting with you. They're beautiful staff, very knowledgeable staff, but they're staff that are growing as well personally. That we have training courses at lunchtime. We try and encourage the staff to become vegetarian, so they don't take souls from animals, so they don't get the karma debt from consuming animals. We've got very strong morals, standards, and beliefs, and we don't think it's. I think that the path that businesses go in general is wrong. The path of money is everything. If you can't make a profit, then you can't have a business. You think about your schooling days, the subjects, you know, physics, maths, English, engineering, biology, chemistry. Where on earth is spirituality or innate intelligence come in there? It's not there. And so these things are life skills which many people don't have. We are training our staff for the innate intelligence, for the morals, how important it is to do the right thing. We release live animals once every month now. Used to be more often, because of the karmic benefits, and we pass blessings to every single one of our customers for that month, and for the historical customers, because we don't want our customers to be sick. Our personal goal, is to have no customers.
Yeah.
Because they don't need us. They don't need any help, because they have become empowered.
Yes, that's my exact philosophy. I tell people that all the time with my goal with my business is to put myself out of work, because if you keep coming back to me, then I'm not helping you, you know? So I very much relate to that.
In China, they have doctors that you pay a certain amount each week, whether you see them or not. If you get sick, then you stop paying them.
Yeah.
So where's the motivation in the doctor to make sure they really do a good job and get you well? So it's just it's a mind change where it's a paradigm change where instead of going to a doctor and paying the doctor, of course the doctor wants income, so they they get their recommendations from the pharmaceutical suppliers. This is the latest product, and you know, hey, come onto our boat and we'll tell you all about it. Or don't forget your fishing rod. And all these sort of these dirty things which go on. The people see the doctors, and the doctors get more money the sicker the people become through medication or through just visits. And of course, you can't get medication without the visit. Yeah, very clever. It's a fantastic business model, but it's not a great humanity model. And so we are putting humanity back into it. So, yep, if someone lets us know, well, they bought one of our products and we're never going to see them again because they're so well, they're doing back somersaults and they're just feeling fantastic. They're living life again. They'll put a great smile on our faces. And all our staff, the people that we employ into our company, they're all very good people, really good people. They're people that you really you feel you want to keep them as friends forever, and hopefully we will. They're not staff. We don't regard them as staff. They truly are friends. When I first came to China, I kept very low key because of what had happened in New Zealand. It was quite full on when I was being investigated. It was very intense, quite very scary. And I came to China and I had all these visions of China being this and that, you know, and authoritarian, you know, like controlling country. And I knew what the staff looked like. One of the staff saw me on the outside. I was out in the, was wandering around. Wow, China, wow. and she came back and this was what, 8 years ago. And I sort of turned away because they knew my face from the photos and you know, within the company. And because I didn't want her to know that I was there, because then she'd tell the other staff, which of course she did. Well, she is still with us, the same staff member. She's still there. She's a lovely soul. In fact, she's the one that you saw, not Nicole, the other one, Penny. They aren't just become real close friends, very close friends. And so going to the office, it's not like going to the office and doing the work and the meetings and then go home again. It really isn't like that. It's a lifestyle. It's if it was anything different, I wouldn't do it. It's how we formed it from the very start. We don't want to be a business focused on money, focused on maximum sales. We want to be focused on maximum health. And this is what we do. And on the bigger picture with all the charity work and everything thrown into it. So, yeah, what was the question again?
Oh no, it was just about how to wisely choose a good PEMF machine.
Pulse EMF.
Yeah, that
Boy,
pretty
did that
much
one go
covered
on
it.
Yeah, well, just look at the machine. Most machines are good. If you can afford it and it's a good one, we'll you know, buy it. It's okay. You don't have to buy one of ours. But what I can say is that our ones work and they work well. They work. We have a website which some people have. Oh no, that's a Spooky. We have this range of products called Spooky, and it's spooky2reviews.com. But there's other websites, and you can just do a general search for looking for MirrorMate Pulse EMF reviews, and you'll see. In fact, if you go to mirrormate.com, you can see them. People that are really amazed just how fantastic they are. Sometimes it might take a week or two, but boy, you know, you notice this change. Think, wow, you know, I used to take a drug for this. Now I don't need to. So this is what it's like to be happy again. This is what it's like to have energy again. Hey, let's start manifesting some more.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, would you happen to have one last positive messages for the viewers?
Yeah, I do actually. Now, in today's society, the way that we were brought up and went through schooling and everything, we're taught how to make ourselves better. We're taught how to get a good job, get a good wife or husband, and to have children and go do the different roles. Now, my message I'd like to give is to pass love forwards, pass it blindly, help people that you don't know, that you know, people you love, people that you hate. Life has a way of going around in circles, and you'll find that all come back to you, but don't do it for that reason. Okay. Just let love flow out from you. Extend yourself so you can help people. And you'll see an amazing change in everything around you, even things which are totally unrelated. It's just the way of the universe making things happening. It's like a scale, I suppose, where you do good things, and your debt goes up, and then you do great things, and your karmic debt goes down. You'll find that if you do pass love forwards blindly and without expecting reward, really strange things happen. Good luck things will happen more frequently. Let's say it like that. It's just random good luck things just happen by passing love forwards, and it'll make the world a much better place as well. So that's my advice for today. My message for today, I should say, is just pass it forwards and listen to Rich. His message is fully aligned with mine, with my thoughts, although I didn't think of it in terms of manifestation. I would myself manifest a better world, so I'd make it a big one, and an end of war. This is what I would like to manifest now, and it will happen. I've just got to put the energy in and the focus. So keep tuned into Rich's channel, because it's a gold mine. It's a hidden gold mine. I didn't know about it until just recently. But what he talks about is solid gold. It really is. It's all really about self-empowerment, realizing that everything that you can wish for is within. It's in you. Just let it go. Make it happen. Now, Rich came, he had a hardship in his life, and look at him now. And I had not as hard, but I had a hardship in my life, and I'm doing okay now. Everyone can do it. Manifest. Wow.
All right, John, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be linking all the information in the description of the video with the company and the products and all that good stuff. Thank you again for joining me. You have a good day, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Rich. You too. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.